Hi, everybody. Welcome to Authors Go for Broke. My name is Bailey, and I had an amazing time reading this novel here. It's called Watcher in the Glass, and it is by John Graham. How are you doing, John? Thank you for being here with us.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm happy to be. I feel great. And looking forward to the chat.
Thank you so much. So, will you just tell everyone just a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I live in the northwest of England, just outside Manchester, in a town called Bolton. I've worked for the civil service, for the government. I've worked in the military. I've had my own business, and through all that time, I've always thought maybe one day I'll write a book, like a lot of people do. And then in about 2010, just after my son was born, I actually found I had a little bit of time to do it. Started doing it, and then just parked it for about 15 years, half finished, half in my head, just as something that I'd get to one day. Um, and then last year, I just decided to do it. It's been an easy and extremely difficult process, if I could put it like that. Currently, I just kind of do my day job, talk about my book to anyone who try and listen, go on TikTok and share pictures of it, see if anyone will buy it, and then try and think of the next one because I think once the first one takes 10 years, the second one takes 1 year, and then you just think, oh, I'll just keep going and doing it. So that's where I'm at now. I've just got a normal day job, and then in between bits of free time, which as the kids get older, you do I tend to have a little bit more. I'll try and fill it in with one of my activities, various things I do, or trying to write the next one.
That's great. So I have to ask you, since you're doing all this other stuff, do you feel like an author? Like if someone asks you what you do, would you ever say I'm an author?
Not
Or does
not
it
at
kind of feel like
first.
a hobby?
I mean, the first one came out just after Christmas, and I didn't feel like an author at all. Even when I sold some to people that I didn't know, still didn't feel like an author. Then after the second one, m- sort of, yeah, I was kind of accepted it because tick all the boxes. I fit the criteria. I'm not with one of the big five. I'm not getting Netflix adaptations. It's just I write it. I get someone to do the cover and I put it on Amazon and do that. But yeah, just recently I have felt a little bit like that because I've been talking about it a bit more naturally, and I found out quite a lot of people I know have done the same thing, but they were a bit shy about expressing it. And by me talking about my book, and they go, I've got one, and then it's like a little community sort of. We grow just three or four people, but we feel a little bit more like authors, not just people who wrote a book, which I think is the definition of the word. But yeah, I feel a little bit more authory. But until it becomes my day job and I'm going to exotic places, no, I think I'll
Exotic
just call
places.
it part time. Yeah.
Where would you go? Where would you go if your book could afford you anywhere?
I think I'd start in Northern Europe and work my way down. I've been to a few places around the place, but I've not been to all the interesting ones. So I think I'd start around maybe Scandinavia, visit a few cities there,
Um,
work my way through the coastal parts of France, a bit to the middle, and then end up at Italy. Not all in one go. I do different trips, but that's the part of the world that I really like to explore. The Balkan regions as well. They're really interesting. So probably there, if I was doing more than two of those trips a year, I'd say, oh, off the back of that Amazon sale, I definitely think I was an author then.
okay, let's make it happen, everybody. John Graham, go look up all of his books, see which ones you like. Go ahead and get it. Let's plan it. Let's get him on his trip. Time for your vacation. That's wonderful. And so I think both your genres, you've written books in multiple genres. Is that correct?
Yeah, sci-fi is just something that had been kind of when I consume art, it is of a science fiction nature. So if I watch a film, it was sci-fi. If I read a book, it was sci-fi. I just enjoy that kind of. I said years ago, if they make it commercial to travel into space, which at some point if this will be possible and I can afford it, I'm definitely going. I don't care how old I am or how much it costs. If it becomes reasonable, I'm doing it. Even if it's a 10-minute trip and it costs the price of a new house, I think I just want to go. It just fascinates me. And something I used to think about as a kid lying on my bed was how big the universe was. And you just can't comprehend it. Um, so it's always fascinated me that what would be possible. Like I used to love Star Trek, and then as when I got older, I found out that the people who wrote Star Trek said to scientists what would be possible if technology advanced, and they talk about communicators and things like this. And now we've all got a mobile phone in our hand, and it's been achieved. So science fiction is like a window in what is possible into the future, and that fascinates me. So when I started to write stories, it just came out naturally as that because that was the thing that I was interested in. But I also like the little bit of creepiness and unsettled sensation you get from horror stories, not slasher flicks and things like that. I've just never really got on board with them at all. But when you're scared of something, I've done a few things in my life that are scary, and that sensation is very intense and deep. And if I
It
could
is.
some way translate that onto a page so when someone reads it, go, "Whoa," that's what I was looking for. But not that fear, that physical, visceral fear of someone trying to chop your arms off or something, but
Yes,
something
I was
a
gonna
bit
tell
more
you
deep.
that. Yes, and with Watcher in the Glass, you did a really good job with that because it wasn't anything like I expected. I was imagining kind of a ghosty kind of just like a regular haunted house kind of story, and that's not it, everybody. It was not. It was really surprised me and the direction that you took it. It was, and in a great way. In a great way. I was I couldn't put it down. I was like, in fact, I was it's not a super long book either, which is really great if you've
No,
got a lot going on and stuff. You just want to enjoy a book without it being 700 pages. His book is, how many pages is it? 141. So it's 141 pages, and it was, like I said, you did a really good job with creating that kind of eerie, somebody's watching you feeling.
I don't think the story had the legs to go any further because at the moment where I am, I can get a short story out and I can have characters and location and the theme and what's happening. But I'm not quite as talented at creating the whole world, and particularly in science fiction, you've got to create a whole new universe. But you can get the core of something. So I could have dragged it out and got 350 pages out of it, but it'd been boring. It'd been filler. It was actually longer, and I just
Well, your
cut out the
other
bit that
one
didn't need.
Your other one,
Yeah,
I've got your other one, is the Voidborn Chronicles. This is another one that he did. We were talking about the sci-fi stuff. I have both his books here. And this one's longer. This one's like 106 or 360 pages. You did a good
yeah.
job with this one.
Lots of stories in there though, so that was easier. They were just kind of put together. There's a slight theme in it, really, but a lot of them aren't related to each other. But with Watcher, there's only really two characters in the book, really, which is the lead, Eleanor, and the house. And if you can condense the story down to just them two and not that relationship is, then it has to be a shorter story. So I don't if they call it a novelette or a novella. I don't really know. It's just a book to me, a small book. So
No, it's. I
that
think
that's why it's
it's.
so short.
Yeah, I think it's longer than a novella. I think it's a regular book, but it was really good. And that was another thing. I don't think it's easy to write something so strong and so vivid with only like two characters.
Mm.
And somehow it was engaging the whole way through. I wasn't bored. I wasn't like, oh, what's gonna like, okay, come on. I wasn't that way at all. I was literally like, oh, the book's over. How'd this happen? It was so good. I read right through it. It was really good. So,
Well, that's pleasing to hear. It's difficult to get reviews. If anyone watching this is an author, and you can get 1,000 people saying, "Oh, I really enjoyed that book," and then two of them write a review because they've got to put some effort into it. So it is difficult, and it's nice to get that feedback. Not all the feedback's been good. I think someone on TikTok read it, and I was absolutely delighted. She put a post up that she reads books and she'll review them. I said, "Well, I've got this one. Why do you have this?" She went, "Oh, I'll look, yeah." And then she gave it 3 stars, but she said it was the lowest ever rating. I'm like, "Well, I'll take it on the chin. You can't please everyone."
what? Why'd she give you 3 stars?
I just don't think it appealed to her. I think what she was expecting to read and what she did read
Well,
was two
that's what I
different things.
said. That's what I said.
Yeah,
It was not what I expected, but I
yeah.
liked that. It was refreshing. It wasn't the same old story that everyone writes. It was completely unique, and I loved the way. I'm gonna change it. There are three characters. You also made the sea a character. I don't know how, but you made the essence of the sea its own character, its own being. And I love the ocean. I love the sea. So I live in France and I live in the south. So I don't live right by the sea, but half an hour drive, and I'm always going to the sea. And it really is this like, I don't know. You respect it. You respect the sea, and I felt like you made the sea a character, and I don't know how you did it, but somehow you did.
I think it's a personal thing that because I've been on boats and I flew over oceans like we do when you go and flying, and I see and even in a film when there's the ocean and it's just a little boat in the ocean, I think that feels scary to me. That feels like a little bit like being in space on your own. where there is just space. When you're on the ocean, you really are isolated. You're not the top of the food chain at all, and that is something like I don't know if we all have a dread of our own that we cling to, but being on a boat, like for instance in Jaws on that little boat in a massive ocean, when you know there's big old fish in there that want to eat you, I just don't like that sensation at all. So
See, that's exactly how I feel about going to space. And I don't know what it is, but people either have this strong desire to go off into space or they're like weigh me down. I'm never going to go up there at all. And
yeah.
I feel that way. I'm space just terrified. I love it. It's fascinating. I'm with you. I love learning about it. I love learning about the universe. I could just like read about black holes and all that for ages. I mean, it's the whole thing is fascinating to me. But my husband's the same way. He's like, oh, I want to, like, let's go to Mars. I'm ready to go.
Mm.
And I'm like, no way. That is terrifying. So people either have that or they don't. And the sea is the same way. Some people aren't scared at all of the ocean,
Mm.
and then others feel that same way that you do, where it's just
Mm.
like this heavy.
For some reason, I don't know why, a few years ago, I thought I'll start doing triathlons. I used to cycle to work. I thought, yeah, I was going to do a cycle and then thought, well, I can run a bit because I've run a marathon and do my Saturday morning 5K and what have you. And thought, yeah, I'll just do a triathlon. That'll be fine. So I went to the swimming pool, did some
I'll
swimming.
just do a triathlon.
Well, just so I could say I've done one. It's like, why did you climb that mountain? Because it was there. So I did a marathon years ago because I'd never done one. I thought, I'll see what it's like. Did the training, did it. Well, didn't need to do another one. Once I've done one, that'll do. What I thought I'll do, and the Ironman race is in my hometown in Bolton every year, and I went to watch it a few years in a row, and I thought, I could probably do that. It's just anyway. So I started to do triathlons, did some shorter ones. You do a pool swim and then go cycling and what have you. And then as the distance gets longer and you get to Olympic distance and then half Iron and Ironman, you have to swim outside in lakes and sometimes rivers, or where we live at Salford Quays is a huge docks that used to where ships come, but now it's just residents. But these huge docks where you swim, you do big old laps of that. So I started to train in that in the dock at Salford. It's basically just a huge basin with water in it. There's fish in it and things like that. But it's very sanitized. There's nothing that can kill you, even if you drink it, because it's pretty clean water. So I was swimming around there, and I wasn't particularly strong swimming at the time, but I think the loop was a couple of 100 meters. So I'm really pacing myself and going slow, make sure I get around it, just getting used to it. After putting my wetsuit on inside out for the first time I tried to do it, which is a lot harder than it sounds, but I managed it. And then someone said, "Use wetsuits inside out." Thanks, mate. So then, anyway, I eventually got in the water and I'm swimming round. And these huge basins have a small canal that connects each one. And where the canal is, there's a slight flow of water. And as I was going past, you could feel this little bit of flow of water. And I don't know what it was, a crisp packet or a piece of rubbish or a Coke can or something, but something touched my foot as I was swimming past
Oh my
it.
gosh.
Right. And I don't know what the Olympic record is for front crawl, but I definitely got near it. It might have been a British record because I've never swum as fast in my life to get out because that is something that I just can't deal with. The water's fairly dark. You can, as you're swimming, you can see your fingers, but a few meters ahead of that, you couldn't see anything really because it's a little bit dirty. I swam as hard as I could and got out. That was it because something brushed against my toe. And I know it's nothing. I know consciously it's nothing that can hurt me. It'll just be a piece of rubbish. But that horrible feeling
That
to my stomach,
feeling.
like, nah, I'm done for the day. I'm getting out. I've done a lap. That'll do. I eventually got over it, and I did. I swim there many times after that, and in lakes as well, where you swim past and the reeds will touch the bottom of your feet, and I just can't do with that sensation at all.
That is so
Not for me.
funny. It's like a little pet peeve of yours. No, I mean you have that like fight or flight, and it's just like
Yeah, that's
I'm
exactly
out
what
of
it was.
here.
Yeah.
Wow, I think it's really great that you even just decided you were going to try to do an Ironman.
Yeah,
Um,
I did enter. I was ready to go. I trained and everything. I was ready to go, and then I got hit by a car. I was cycling one day and was injured and couldn't do it. And then,
what?
yeah, anyone who cycled in Britain around towns will know how dangerous it is, and I don't do it anymore.
Oh my
Sunday morning,
gosh.
quiet out in the hills is okay, but just in rush hour, like people who commute on a bike, it's not really worth it.
They
Um,
hit you?
yeah. Oh, good old hit as well. Yeah, broke a couple of
Oh,
bones.
oh
So
my
it, that
God.
so I deferred it for a year because you can do, and I thought I'll recover, I'll train, I'll do it next year. but it's really expensive to join. Anyway, just as we was coming up to the following year, I was a little bit sore from the bumps and bruises.
Getting
Like, but
hit by a car.
yeah, I mean, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't like life threatening. It just really hurt, and I had a few muscle pains. Excuse me. Anyway, coming up to the race next year, ready to go. Didn't feel quite as confident as the year before because I didn't do as much training because I was injured. And then the races on the weekend. Thursday, I cycled to work, had the shower at work, bent down to pick up the towel, and my back went where the injury was,
Oh
and that was it.
no.
Done. I've not even considered doing it now. I'm a bit too old to really start. Someone will say, no,
Wow.
you're never too old, but I feel it.
I think I think you definitely can say that you tried your best.
I had a good
I
old
don't
go, but yeah, it's so expensive. I'm not paying all that money
I
again
didn't
just
know
to
that.
get injured. Yeah, it's really expensive. But
I
it's
didn't realize
they
that.
shut down the whole town for the day. These huge events all weekend. Kids do a race. There's a race at night, and then the race on race day it starts at 6 a.m. You cycle right across the county, and then run all the way around Bolton, and the roads are just shut. So it is a very expensive event to put on. I understand why it's so expensive. But the thing, oh, it's just come back to me, Bailey. Why? Oh, I remember sitting in the presentation because I went to watch. I thought, well, I can't race, but I'm still going to try and experience the whole thing. So I went and watched it, and I went and watched the presentation at the end, and they had the age group categories, winners, first, second, and third, to come and get a little bit of surprise. And it's like, clap, 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 well done. And if you're in the top amount, I can't remember when it was, but if you're definitely top three, you was invited to Kona in Hawaii to go and do the Ironman there because you'd qualified, which is a real honor and this very
Yes.
special event. And then you go brilliant. You go down, you sign up, pay a bit of a deposit, and then that's it. You're going to Hawaii.
Wow.
And the guy at my predicted time that I thought I was going to do it, which was not fast at all, but at the time he had a category for military. In my category for my age group in military, I'd have easily qualified for Kona, like
Oh
by
my God.
hours,
By
because
hours?
there was only two other blokes in it. I know. Oh, so I was sat there thinking, "Oh, well done, everyone! You've done a really good effort there." And then he was reading out the times in the category, and I'm like, that should have been me.
Oh
Yeah,
man, I'm
maybe I
so
should write a book about that.
sorry.
No, I'm not sorry because the money that I've spent to go to Hawaii, I wouldn't have been able to go on my own. I'd have to take the whole family with me. They wouldn't have let me go to Hawaii on my own, would they? So it cost me 10 grand or something. So maybe I dodged a bullet.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, they don't pay for you to go to Hawaii. Uh, but still, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. The whole thing, honestly.
It's character
But
building.
yeah, I would say that. Yeah, you could definitely put some of that into a character for a book, without a doubt. I can't believe all that happened to you. But you tried, you know what I mean? And not like, oh, I'm just not feeling good today. I mean, you're out there training all that time and getting hit
Right.
by a car, still going to try. I mean, you definitely gave it your all, and so you shouldn't feel bad at all.
No, I don't feel bad. It was a few years ago now, so I've got over it. Writing a book was harder. I mean, getting on a bike and just
Oh,
cycling for 10 hours, physically it's hard, but you just keep going. You switch your brain off and you just go and you keep eating your little energy gels. When you're writing a book, you got to think about it all the time. You got to be concentrating,
yes.
otherwise it's just nonsense, which it does happen sometimes. So yeah, the writing a book was harder, definitely more taxing.
When did you start? Did you ever write for fun, or did you ever do any kind of writing
Yeah,
before, or was writing this book like your first, like, I'm going to write?
no, there was when about 2013 or something, I worked in a court. I worked for the court service and I worked as a clerk, and we had a little bit of a group of us, and you sat at your computer doing work or whatever and helping the judges do certain things. So we'd be working as a team but isolated in different courtrooms. So we'd email each other, just chatting basically, before things like instant messenger was that we had available to us.
Right.
So we'd be chatting, and then one of the things that came up was we'd send each other like four or five prompts. We'd send it to our group, and then you have to write a story about it, like a flash fiction, which
Oh,
I
that's
didn't
so
know
much
was a
fun.
thing at the time, but that's what we started doing. And I found some actually early this year, reading them. Some of them are absolutely dreadful and not suitable for publication, but a couple of mine were okay, but a couple of that my mates were really good, and I'd forgot about them. So that was probably my first effort at creative writing for the purpose of producing creative writing, not just like passing the time. And someone who worked with us published an online magazine. I say published, did one publication. And he asked if I would put some of the stories in there. So I did. I gave him some of the two of them, one that I can still track down. The other one, I don't know what's happened to. I can't find it anywhere. And he said, right, I'll publish those in issue two. Thanks very much, John. You'll get a cut and everything like this. And I signed a little bit of an agreement. Like, brilliant. I'm a published author. So I went for years and years telling people I'm a published author. I had two short stories or flash fictions published in a magazine online called The Gorgon's Mirror, which still exists. I found it the other day. Anyway, it turns out he didn't publish the second one. He only published the first edition. He didn't do the second one. So the one that was my story, the one that never got out there, I was devastated when I found that out. And absolutely devastated. So I thought, I'm going to have to publish it on myself. So
yes,
I checked the other day, and the Gorgon's Mirror is available. I looked about 18 months ago when I remembered about it, and I found one of the stories on my old computer in a little folder. And I thought, oh, yeah, I'm published. I was telling my son about it. I'm a published author. Yeah, I'll find it. So I'm Googling it, and then just found this one. I'm like, oh, no, I'm not a published author. It's like when I ran the marathon. No, it's another terrible story. I ran it. It was awful. I'd forgot to eat. I got cramp all over my body. I crawled over the line in 5 hours, which, I'm still really pleased with. And then a few weeks later, they said we measured the distance wrong. It's not a full marathon distance. It was something like 100 yards short, 200 yards, and it didn't count as an official marathon. So
but that's not your fault.
I know, but the line is the line. You cannot argue with the tape measure. So I've almost run a marathon, Bailey. I'll take back my previous statement that I've run a marathon. I've almost run one. That was annoying.
John, are you unlucky? What is happening?
No. I mean, I've had plenty of good luck in my life. I'm still breathing, so yeah, something's going right somewhere. So I've almost run a marathon, and I almost did an Ironman, and I was almost published for 10 years before I found out.
Okay. Oh my gosh, you're so funny. You're so funny. So can you actually just tell everyone a little bit about what Watcher in the Glass is about? We talked a little bit about how it's the house and the main character Eleanor. But can you give everyone just a brief summary?
I don't want to give it away because it does reveal itself as you go along. But basically, there's a girl called Eleanor, and her grandmother dies. A grandmother that she's lost contact with over the years for a variety of reasons. But they're not in contact. The grandmother dies. She inherits the house, so she does all the admin. Speaks to the solicitor, saying she takes some time off work to go to the house with the intention. I think never really discovered it because I didn't develop that part of it, but with intention probably of just selling it. But she goes to the house and starts to remember stuff that happened, not fond memories, not really bad memories, but not comfortable with it. And she kind of doesn't really pinpoint it and explain it to us, but she doesn't really feel comfortable there or with the relationship with her grandmother. And then she's rooting through the house. It feels a little bit strange. There's no mirrors, but there's a space on the wall where mirrors would have been. And then she goes into the basement, finds a note that says, "Don't uncover the mirror unless the sea talks back." I mean, what does that mean? So we introduce mystery as early as we can in the story, because it's not a long story anyway, but we get that little bit of mystery going. And then she finds the journals, which she assumes her grandmother's wrote, and as she reads them and comes back to them, they change, and it's different how she remembers it. So what I was trying to do there was, when you walk into a room and you forgot why you were there, and then you go back into the room and you remember. So I wanted to, and I've done this recently as well because I've lost something. I can't remember what I've done with it, and I'm retracing my steps and like 5 different versions of what really happened because my memory's on. So that cloudiness we have in our memory, I wanted to explore that a little bit. So she's doubting whether she's reading it incorrectly or remembering it incorrectly, or it is actually changing, and we explore that. In the little village where this house is set, it's on the coast, on the cliff near the sea, just outside a village. She gets the sensation that those people there know more about that house than she does, but they won't tell her. And it's a little bit kind of a strange feeling. No one's really sociable or chatty. They speak to her, but they won't actually talk to her. So she's feeling quite isolated as well. And then as the story develops, this is where I'll stop with the plot and just try and give the theme. As the story develops, we find out that the memory becomes important, and the sensation of the house being isolated and a gatekeeper rather than a place to live, and the house being a character itself. I tried to explore that. But if I could use a word to explain the book in a word, I tried to make it creepy. So not jump scary or gory or violent, because that's not really what I'm into. And I think for me, it cheapens the horror. I want people to go, that doesn't seem right. And there's a scene in it where someone comes to the house, and a friend of mine, uh, she read the book. She texted me. She said that where the man comes to the house, that's disgusting. And I'm like, perfect, because it's not visually or physically disgusting, but in your mind, it's the feeling might be horrible, creepy, like you get that shivers kind of thing. So that's what I was aiming for. And somehow I don't know how, organically, I suppose, the legend, the myth, the kind of history and the background of what's happening there blended into a more traditional kind of myth that we get in horror films. I don't know why. It's not a particular trope or a genre that I'm particularly into. It just felt, rather than making up something new, because it's difficult to invent something new and for it to be really good. That is rare. If you can tie it into something that already exists, I think. So when you watch a Marvel film, you know exactly what you're getting, but you still enjoy it. So I thought I'll tie it into, I'll use that and I'll make it something that people can relate to a bit more, so that I don't need to create a whole backstory. It's like, oh, I just understand what that is, so it makes it quicker to get to the point I was trying to get to. Um,
And you did a
uh,
great job of taking something like that and also making it your own. I don't want to spoil it, but you did also change it a little bit, which was really cool.
yeah, I was hoping it didn't become cheesy,
It
like,
didn't.
oh, do you know? Yeah, but that was the fear when I wrote it, and it did change a lot. I did go back and edit it quite heavily for that, because I found myself going down that kind of traditional, expected kind of route of what had happened. I thought, and that's really not what I want to do. That's not how I started doing it, and it's certainly how I didn't want to finish it. So it did get chopped quite a lot and changed, and it was it was quite difficult really to get it to the point where it was relatable for people who like this kind of story, but not kind of, oh yeah, it's just one of them. You know, you
Yeah, it didn't
understand what
do
I
that
mean?
at all. That's why I said it didn't have that. That's one of them feeling. It was like, and it did have a creepy is a good way for it because, like you said, nothing's like jumping out. No one's like chopping heads off or something crazy like that. It's like feeling when you feel like someone's watching you. You just kind of the hairs on the back of your neck go up a little bit, or you're kind of just like, ooh, like that kind of like, ooh, like what's going on here? That kind of a shiver, kind of a turn the lights on, kind of a vibe is what you get. From your
Yeah.
book, which I think is actually harder to write than just the gore and the jumping out because that's very easily
I
I don't
wouldn't know
know.
how to write that anyway, because I don't really consume that kind of entertainment in film or book. I wouldn't know what it looks like on the page. I mean, you can watch a slasher flick and you think, yeah, gruesome, people get chopped up and you can see it visually, but I wouldn't be able to explain it and write it in a way that would seem anything to me other than really cheap and tacky. If I wrote down that scene of violence on the page, when I reread it, it just like, it doesn't have any kind of substance for me. It's an easy way to frighten people or to get a reaction, but I don't think but for me, it doesn't have enough depth of it, if you know what I mean. It does feel a little bit cheap, and it's not something I've enjoyed watching films. I'll turn a film off if it's getting too gory. I mean, I'll watch an Arnold Schwarzenegger film where he's mowing people down like Commando or something. But the films like Saw or I've seen a film called Hostel once, and it just people
Oh
thought it was
yeah,
great. I just
I
thought,
watched
what?
that one.
Yeah, I didn't really relate to it at all. It's not something that really interests me. I don't get a kick out of it. Maybe it's because of my military background. We kind of,
No,
I
true.
suppose, in that environment where people do get hurt, kind of like, well, do I really want to be entertained by that kind of thing? I don't know. No, I've never been in an injury. None of my close friends have been injured like that, but maybe it's just something
Yeah, no,
subtle
you see it
angle from it.
differently. Yeah, you
Mm.
that going into the military that would definitely change how you see certain things. I think that's normal. The sci-fi one, you, the Voidborn Chronicles. You said there are a bunch of. I haven't read this one yet. I did read Watching the Glass. I have not gotten to the sci-fi. Which genre did you enjoy writing more? You seem to have a passion for the sci-fi.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, and it's just it. If someone asks you to draw a picture, you draw something that you're familiar with, and you just go, ah, and that is just how that book came into existence. I wanted to write something and get it out there into the wild to say that I've done it. And that just became the natural medium to do it through sci-fi because I don't know how many times, so nerdy, but I've watched Star Trek, the original series, so many times.
It's
And
a classic. It's great.
I love Star Wars. I watched the TNG series. I just love that kind of environment where the technology is a character. Uh, so it was natural to write that, but I had nowhere near the kind of discipline or patience or technical skill ability to write a full novel of sci-fi. But what I can do is come up with ideas to write a short story, and hopefully one of those ideas one day will grow into a bigger story. And I've found that this year as my ideas have more meat on them on the bones earlier because I'm thinking about what's going to happen down the line, not just the initial, oh, here's a scenario, let's have a little story about it. So some of those in Voidborn are quite short because I had an idea and I explored it. The ideas I'm having now are a lot meatier, and I want to get a second edition of that out because there was some that didn't make the first cut, and just because I didn't really think they fitted, and some of ideas I've had since then, I think they're going to be really good. I'm writing one at the moment to be a short story, and I'm aiming for like 12,000 words. It's already at 20,000, so that isn't going in. That's going somewhere else because I'm not losing the ability to write a short story, but I'm just enjoying more depth to the character, to the world building, and things like that. But sci-fi is just a natural medium for me because I've just surrounded myself with it for so long in TV, films, and when I was younger, comics. Um, it just felt natural, and I knew that I wouldn't be able to get a novel out, and it became kind of an urgent feeling that I needed to get this done, not because I want to make money off it or anything like that, because as a self-published author, it's very difficult to make a lot of money. I just wanted the sensation of doing it and getting it out there. When I look at that book now, I can see so many things wrong with it, but I was very naive. I was learning as I go. Like Amazon KDP, I had to literally watch the videos and learn to do it in format, and it was very frustrating. It took ages. And I look at the cover of that book now, which I had to made myself, and I can see on the spine the writing's not quite centralized, and that really annoys me now because it becomes important to me that it should look right. But at the time, I'm like, yeah, that seems fine because I'm not experienced enough to spot those things or savvy enough to modify them. So it was a real learning experience. It was kind of a test bed for
And
writing a story and getting it out there into the world.
that's completely normal. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to authors. Just the author I previously interviewed, Mark Avery. He was talking about how he had written some books in the past, but nobody really knows about him. And I was like, well, now that you're kind of you've written enough that people kind of know your name a little bit. I was like, maybe you could kind of relaunch
Mm.
those old books. And he was like, oh gosh, no. He was like, no, those are awful. Don't
Mm.
do that. And then same with movie actors too. A lot of times you'll see and they're like, oh, I can't even watch that movie. That was
Yeah.
so bad from the past. So it's a very normal arc. And I think it just shows how you're growing as an author. And it's a normal thing to have happen, which is really cool. Do you find that it's hard to write like new technologies and things like that for sci-fi because we're so advanced right now? Is it harder to imagine an even more futuristic world, or is that easy for you? That's where I
Uh,
struggle with sci-fi.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's very tempting to lean on what already exists in sci-fi and use the same terminology. I find it more difficult not to just pinch words from Star Wars or Star Trek or a film that I've seen and go, I'll use that word to explain this because people understand it. And you can't really get away from it, really, if you want people to understand. But I found that quite difficult. Instead of calling it, I don't know, call it a plasma rifle, you have to think of a slightly different name because you think, well, that's just what Arnold said in the Terminator phase, plasma rifle. So that's a challenge. As for coming up with new technologies, no, not really, because I've not really invented anything new. I'm just kind of modifying what already exists in the world of sci-fi and using it for my own means. So
Okay.
things like there's a story in Voidborn where there's a bounty hunter, a former priest, but he's half machine and he's got cybernetic implants that do things and all sorts. That
Oh, that's so
people are
cool.
people are already familiar with that kind of thing anyway. That kind of like cyborg trope has been out around for ages. And again, I don't really want to invent anything new. I'm trying to with another project that I'm doing. I'm trying to do that, but it's so difficult because you not only have you got to invent it, you've got to then explain it, fit it into the world. So you have to explain the world as well. And before you even get to your story, you've got a novel of like a guidance. I think Tolkien spent years and years creating the world of Middle Earth before he started writing the story. He said, because the story will need this background. I don't really want to do that, if I'm honest with you. I just want to tell a little bit of a story. So,
And you might one day change your mind and be like, I have this idea for a world, and I need them to understand it, and you might end up doing it. So it just, but there's no problem right now being like, I don't want to, I
no,
don't want to write a whole new language or. Can
I,
you imagine the people who write languages?
I know. And they speak it as well. The people
Yeah,
speak Klingon. I met someone who
yeah,
speaks Klingon
Klingon.
once.
That's
Started talk. I said, "Oh yeah, I like Star Trek. Oh, I can speak Klingon." Started rattling on in Klingon, and I'm like, "What is going on here?
that's such
Why?
a good
Yeah,
example. There's
who are you going
so
to
many
talk to?"
people.
I
No,
mean,
there's actually a lot of people that know Klingon. Um,
yeah, they might need to all be put in the same place and put a fence around them. I don't know.
you're so funny. Oh my gosh. After you did all of that work and you held your book in your hand, and you said,
Mm.
I made this cover, I wrote these words, um, that has to feel so good. How did it feel when you held your book in your hand?
Um, yeah, it felt really good, a real achievement, something I was very proud of, and I also felt really kind of vulnerable and exposed because all of a sudden things are in my head are on a piece of paper, and no matter what you try and write, you do present some of your own personality in your writing, whether it's in a character or the way they express themselves or what they're scared of, what they like. And I'm not used to doing that at all. Uh, it's difficult. It's a bit of a cliche, but men just don't talk about feelings and emotions and things like that, do we? It's like a cliche. So yeah, I felt very, very vulnerable. I didn't actually tell people I published it. I didn't tell my family. I just told them I was doing it, and then I'd do it kind of not in secret, but I would do it in quiet times in the house. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't say I'm just going to go and work on the book at all. And after it came out, like, yeah, I've done it now. Oh, right, well, we'll get one then. And people started, family and friends started buying it. I'm like, oh, no, I don't think it's terrible.
Being an author, it's so hard because you have to come with the stories, create the stories, write them down, and then do all the other stuff after. And you've done a great job. I love that you're changing you started with short stories and now you're imagining maybe slightly longer ones. I'm really excited for the other books that you have that are going to come out. I'm just excited for your whole writing journey in the future. I'm definitely going to keep
Really, you
following
come
you.
across as a person who's excited by everything that
I
happens on a
am.
daily basis. Anyway,
I do. I am. I'm always happy, always excited. So yeah, everybody who's watching this, Watcher in the Glass. This is the one that we talked about. That's the horror one. It's not the sci-fi one. And in the description below, I'll have a link. You guys can go ahead and buy it. And I really recommend it. Like I said, just enjoy it because it's not like anything that you think. And so just trust me, you'll like it. Okay. And then this one, the Voidborn Chronicles. This is his sci-fi one, and it's got multiple short stories inside of it, and it's also going to be amazing. I haven't read this one, but I can just tell by everything that he's saying that it's going to be good. So this is also going to be in the description below. So, and if you want to follow John on social media, he is on TikTok. And what else are you on?
TikTok and X at the moment, and
TikTok
and
and
a
X.
little bit of a Facebook presence, but you don't really get much on there. So
No,
yeah.
Facebook is kind of dying.
Mm.
And that's okay. There's other things, so don't worry about it. So yeah, if you guys want to follow John on TikTok and X, he's also there, and so you can learn about future books that he has coming out. So thank you so much for just being here with me, for sending me the books. John sent me these books, guys. He sent them to me. It was amazing. It was like a little present. Not on Christmas or my birthday. As an adult, we get all like the junk mail and all that, and bills. I'm like, oh, a package of books. So yeah, you made my whole week. So thank you so much for that, and just thank you for being here.
Thanks, Bailey. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, if anyone does read the book and you've got any feedback, you don't have to both of you, that'd be great. If you did, just message me on TikTok and we'll have a chat about it.
Yes, please let him know what you think about it. Write a review because it really does help. But yeah, the best thing you can do is just talk to the author. So if he's willing, go ahead and send a message. All right. Well, thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I can't wait to see what you write next.
Thanks, Bailey. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.